Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth podcast. I am Mark Schlereth. He is Mike Evans. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like it, and keep sending those comments my way. I'll do my best to answer every single one of them, unless, of course, I don't want to, and then I'll just say up yours. Anyhow, Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Looking forward to a big weekend of football here in Denver. It's kind of like hurry up and wait. You know, they don't play till Monday night. And while I love seeing your team play on a Monday night, it does make for a long weekend waiting till your team plays. But we got some great matchups to talk about. So no crying, no complaining. And the most fascinating one right off the bat, if you had told me, or if we were talking about this during the summer, hey, Mark, I'm telling you, I'm gazing into my crystal ball, and by week 4, we're going to have a matchup between Kansas City and Baltimore, and both teams are going to be 1-2. What would you have said to me if I had predicted that?
I would have said, hey, you're crazy. Kansas City, yeah, I expect the Kansas City to drop off, but not the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I expected them to be great defensively. I looked at them and I thought they were going to be awesome offensively, their ability to run the ball, how they play complementary football. I thought the Ravens, and I picked the Ravens to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. So I thought they'd be fine. And offensively, other than, putting the ball on the ground, which is Derrick Henry, which, mind-boggling that he's putting it on the ball or on the ground because he hasn't had that issue in the past, Mike. But this defense, I mean, they gave up, 40 to Buffalo or whatever it was. They gave up 38 to Detroit the other night. I'm telling you, it is crazy to me that they're sitting here. And then as far as Kansas City is concerned, listen, we all predicted the Kansas City Chiefs having a bit of a fall off. But come on, if they lose this game, they start 1-3. I mean, it's like the Wizard of Oz. All hail Dorothy. The Wicked Witch is dead. They're dead. If they start 1-3, they're not winning this division. The Chargers are 3-0 and have 3 division wins right now. And I was talking to you on the radio show. We were also talking to Dan Orlovsky on our radio show from ESPN. And, we came to the conclusion, name one thing Kansas City does well on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, name one thing. It's like Curly, I mean, we talked about Curly from City Slickers. My favorite line almost in any movie. It's not Curly. It's when in City Slickers they have Parents' Day, and Billy Crystal's going and he's all ready to talk about whatever boring accounting work or whatever it is he does. And the construction dad comes in. And the construction dad goes, hey, the other day I was on this ball bust of a job, and they're all like first graders, right? And so he says, this lady, you know the type, Bloomingdale's bags, right? And she's all messing in the construction site. And I say to her, you stupid bitch, you can't go down there. Dude, and he's talking to first graders, and I'm like, this is the greatest scene I've ever seen. I've ever been a part of. Instead of that, she gets trapped underneath this car. I get this like superhuman strength, and he pulls it up off her. And he goes, so the moral of the story is, don't go messing where you should not go messing, or whatever it was. That's my favorite scene. My second favorite scene in that movie is when Curly says, hey man, the secret of life is in one thing, and then he drops dead. Right? And you're like left going, what's the one thing? Well, I always look at offense, Mike, this way. You got to be able to do one thing. Give me, if I can build, I had this conversation with a team that was struggling in the run game. This is several years ago. And the offensive coordinator said, hey, man, I'd like to talk to you about running the football and kind of what we're doing. And I say, hey, listen, we'll get on the phone. And so we spent a couple different conversations over the phone on Zoom about running the football. And I talk a lot about philosophy and understanding and all that stuff. But he was like, we're really having a tough time. And I said to him, find one thing. He goes, what do you mean? I go, find one thing. I don't care what it is. If it's a gap scheme, if it's a zone scheme, whatever that one thing, find one thing that you can do well. and start building your run game on that one thing. Hey, listen, you can get in different formations. You can get in different personnel groupings. You can make that one thing look like 6 things. But find one thing that you can execute, something you can take your hat and hang it on, right? Bam, hang this on there. That's what I'm doing. Then you can build play action off of it. You can build a lot of different things off of it. But find me the one thing. I watch Kansas City, Mike, they don't have one thing. They don't block people. They're not very good up front. And, they changed the whole left side of their offensive line, so that's a work in progress. Travis Kelce at the top of his stem, he was always wide open. He was always able to, muscle people or do whatever and be open. He's not open. They don't have a receiver they count on. And then I saw Mahomes, the only running game they have is when Mahomes takes off. And I've said this about Andy Reid, and I love Andy Reid, designer of plays and all that stuff, but he has football hubris when it comes to the running game. I don't want to win running the football. I want to win throwing the football. It's so anti-offensive line of Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened because he was an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like what happened to
Andy Reid? Too much time
Reid?
spent with quarterbacks. Too much time.
Exactly. Too
and
much
wide
time.
receivers.
Right. Too much time being a guru. And so, anyhow, there is nothing they do offensively. Hell, I'm watching the Sunday night game against the Giants, and not once but twice, Patrick Mahomes got under duress and threw a backward lateral to somebody who wasn't expecting. He's like, oh shit, you got to jump on the ball. Like, what are we doing? So, hey, listen, man, I believe that Baltimore is still the best team in the AFC North. It's a down division. Cincinnati's without their quarterback. Cleveland sucks hind tit. Pittsburgh all of a sudden can't play defense.
Yeah, right.
Right. And they're not running the ball. And they're not taking a lot of pressure off of Aaron Rodgers. So I still think Baltimore is going to win that division going away. I really do.
So, all right, that was going to be my question. So which team of these two, Kansas City and Baltimore, you got to pick one. Which team can afford to lose, drop to 1-3, and you still think they can be a playoff team? And it sounds like it would be Baltimore.
Baltimore is the one team that can, neither can really afford to lose. This is kind of a must-win situation, but Baltimore could lose and still end up winning this division. Kansas City flat can't. You look at, they've already lost. They've already lost to the Chargers. And now you win. You're going to lose again to a division rival, not a division rival, but a conference rival. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Yep. I get going and I don't nothing makes sense, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think if Kansas City loses this game, stick a fork in them. They're not a playoff team. They're not. They lose this game and they don't make the playoffs. From my lips to the Lord's ears.
The Micah Parsons Bowl. Oh man, this is so good. This is the stuff that Hollywood can't even dream up, right?
Oh my God.
Micah Parsons was going to be a Cowboy for life. Micah Parsons was going to be the highest paid player in non-quarterback in NFL history, and it would be as a Cowboy. Instead, he's traded to Green Bay, instantly turns Green Bay into, one of the top 2 or 3 contenders in the NFC, and now they go back to Dallas this quickly in the season. This is too good. So what are you expecting?
An ass whipping of biblical proportions.
Okay.
One, I don't know.
For who? For who?
The Packers.
Yeah.
Coming off a loss to Cleveland, and I'm not one to be accusatory. I'm not, right? Each his own. But whatever pineapple juice Micah Parsons on, I need to get me some of that, because whatever he's on, that dude is playing with a rocket up his ass. I used to always do this, Mike, as a player. I made our film guys give me sideline film. And as an offensive lineman, you just watch the end zone stuff, right? You watch the end zone copy. And I always said, hey, man, I want to get sideline film to my film guys. And they'd be like, what do you, like, at first they were like, why do you want to watch sideline film? The all 22, as we like to call it. And I go, because there's 2 things that I can pick up. One is the levels the defensive linemen line up at. And I've told you this 100 times. D linemen are dumb. All they really want to do is get sacks, right? So I bet you, Mike, over the course of my career, and this is no exaggeration, I would study sideline tape to look for games, tackle games, tackle end games, end tackle games, right? End tackle, the tackle comes in hard first, the end loops around. And I would look at the stances and the levels that they lined up at. And inevitably, it's almost 100% tell that the defensive lineman who's the looper is going to be back off the ball 4 or 5 inches.
Okay.
And so I probably called, like walking up the line of scrimmage in a passing situation, and I just lean over to my tackle and go, end tackle game, here comes Tim. Watch out, end tackle. Tony Jones, tackle, whatever it was. And I bet you I was right over 90% of the time. And you would see them look at each other like, how does he know, right? How does he know? Because you're dumb. That's how I know. You could see it. The other thing I look for, Mike, in those situations, first guy off the ball. The first guy off the ball, you can't see that on end zone copy, but on sideline copy, the first guy off the ball is always 100% of the time the best player. Micah Parsons is getting his second step in the ground before guys get their hands out of the dirt. It's like the first contact wins. D-line, O-line. My thought process always as a player was I want to be the first guy out of my stance. That's why we always jump the snap count. 100% of the time, jump the snap. I'm always early on the snap count because I want to be the first guy to make contact. Because if I'm the first guy to make contact, I get to set my hands. I win. First contact wins 100% of the time. Micah Parsons is so fast off the freaking football, it's mind-boggling. It spins it's unbelievable how quick he is off the ball. So, he is going to be in the backfield. And then, of course, he thought he'd be a Cowboy for life. And now he's a Packer because the Cowboys shuffle their feet and they're just dumb when it comes to, how they operate as a football team. And then on top of it all, the Cowboys give up big plays like it's their job. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they are. They have to lead the league in explosive passing plays given up. And you say, well, at least they solved their running game since they traded Micah Parsons. Why take a bus when you can throw it on, while you can jump on a 747 and get there quite twice as fast? Teams are like, you guys don't cover anybody. You have busted coverages in the backfield. Diggs Diggs coming off the ACL, man. I feel bad for him because he's out there battling. Good for him, but he can't run and move, and he's just not what he once was. So they give up big play after big play after big play, and then you've got Matthew Golden, the kid out of Texas who can run like the wind. You've got Romeo Doubs, who's a good young player. You got Wicks, who's a great young player. The 2 tight end packages they have with Kraft, I think Kraft was hurt a little bit. I don't know where he is. Musgrave, they're a bitch. And I will tell you this, sitting down with Washington, the Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury, and the Washington Commanders lost to Green Bay. You remember it on a Thursday night game, week 2, and it wasn't. The score was not indicative of the game. I mean, they whipped the Packers whipped the Commanders, but Cliff Kingsbury said, "I've never seen overall a faster team. They are so fast, and their pass rush is so good." He goes, "They are playing flat foot coverage at 8 yards on third down and." And third down and 12, because they know this pass rush is so damn good that we're not going to get beat over the top. You're not going to have time to throw it over the top. So we're just going to sit flat-footed, and when you throw it underneath, we're going to break and make a tackle and get off the football field. It was remarkable.
Let's get to another game, Battle of 3-0s. Eagles, Tampa. Tampa will not have me for the next few weeks. It's a big loss.
Huge loss.
I'm a huge loss. Hard to replace me.
Dude, your ability to just, lift the top of coverage.
Yeah.
And open up the underneath stuff. You're one of the most unselfish wideouts that's ever played. I commend you because normally, like I say, wideouts are like children, Mike.
Yeah.
One, they're dependent on everybody else for them to make a play. And two, they whine and bitch all the time unless they're fed. Just like infants. They're infants.
It was a funny story. So there was this young lady that works in our building, and we were talking, and she goes, my boyfriend was so mad at you the other day. I'm like, mad at me? Did I say something on the radio to offend or whatever? No, he said he blamed you for losing his fantasy game. And then I was like, oh, he played against Mike Evans, and that's what you heard. And
she doesn't understand how fantasy football works,
who Mike Evans is, and that kind of stuff. So I was like, let me tell you what that's all about. But yeah, it happens all the time, Stink. You can understand why we get confused.
Did you pat her on the head, Mike, and say, "Oh, you're
you're so pretty.
So cute. You don't understand fantasy football." Hey, listen, with this game, don't you feel a little bit like the Philadelphia Eagles were in this malaise at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they looked up in the fourth quarter and they were down by a bunch of scores, and they said, "Oh shit. Like, it's time to put it on."
Yeah.
And they went out, special teams made a play. They went on offense and scored a couple of touchdowns. They just, like, all of a sudden, I don't want to say they flipped the switch, but they kind of woke up.
Well, I wonder if we might see more of that from Philly early on. You know, when you are a defending champ, you know you're good. Do you think that you might be susceptible to that? Maybe especially early on, the long grind of the season, the idea being that, you know, hey, maybe we just can't bring it for a full 60 minutes, but hey, we're good enough to pick our spots and flip the switch. And now they might be able to do that a lot of weeks like they did last week. But, you know, you also run the risk, I guess, of flipping that switch and nothing's there.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I as I was talking, and like Dan Quinn's a friend, right? He's a I would consider him a really, you know, a good friend. And he was just like, listen, man, September football right now is really weird, especially when you've got a team like the Commanders have an older team, right? They're the oldest team in football at almost 29 years of average age. And they went out and got a bunch of veteran players who were in their 30s. So, you know, they dominate the league in average age. They dominate the league in number of 30-year-old plus players they have, okay? And I know 30-year-old, you know, you sounded, especially at our age, Mike, you're like, 30? You know what I was doing when I was 30? I was dispensing freaking justice in the National Football League, kicking ass and taking names. Like 30 is like a child. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And he said, listen, there are going to be a lot of mistakes in September football, and we had to manage our team early, so we're probably not as dialed in as we need to be because we had to manage ourselves through camp. And I think Philadelphia is the same. You look at it like, hey, man, we played all the way into the World Championship. We destroyed Kansas City in the World Championship. Part of coming out of this thing is to come out and, you know, and really not wear your team out because of the amount of time you spent on the football field during the course of last season and the playoff run that you made. So maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of a lack of, you know, of as much work as we need to. Right. Dan Quinn's point was this, though. Like, I know there are going to be mental mistakes because we haven't done as much as we probably needed to do. But from a philosophical standpoint or an identity standpoint, as long as we're playing fast and playing downhill and we have violence at the point of attack, I don't care about the little mistakes. We'll make up for the little mistakes. And I feel like that's Philadelphia too. And they're going to find their way. And even, you know, can you imagine it being 3-0 and not playing very well and knowing, man, we got a lot left in reserve. You know, we got that reserve tank. Remember, do you ever have a little motorbike back in the day?
Yeah.
And it run out and all of a sudden you just flip it over to reserve. And there was like a little, just like a
couple drips.
It was like an espresso.
Yeah.
Right? There was like a little like after dinner espresso. And what was, and it just enough to get you home.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are. They're like a little cup of espresso just waiting to go whoom after September.
Yeah. Well, it's a big, statement game potentially for Tampa. to really kind of, show the rest of the NFL we're not just simply the best team in a lousy division, your division, the NFC South, but we're actually, a legitimate big boy contender in the NFC, in the NFL. So let's get to our moneymaker picks.
Yes. I do want to say this, though.
Yeah.
If you live in Carolina, you're welcome. Back-to-back weeks.
Boy.
The Carolina Panthers.
But over these next 2 weeks, you're going to feel like Stink is like part of your household.
That's right.
Like he's part of the family. Welcome him in. Yeah. Welcome him in. Because
it's like when you fart on a fabric chair and you get up and it goes, what is that? Like you farted an hour ago on that fabric and you get up and that fabric just still has the remnants of fart in it. Yeah. That's what I'll be like in your household. Mm-hmm. I am like a stale fart stuck in the fabric of your couch. You're welcome.
Ode to Stink will be there for the next couple of weeks here. So there you go. All right. So how did I
first? Oh, by the way, Mike, I've got it in my handy dandy notebook right here. Pin attached. You can see my pin is attached.
Oh, look at that penmanship, though.
It's all okay. So here's the deal. Yeah, last week you went 2-1, which is normally the record I take, and I took your record at 1-2.
The comeback has begun.
As we sit right now, after 3 weeks, Mike, you sit at 3-6,
Oof.
and yours truly sits at 5-4. Not very good for me. But here we go. So you get to pick first this week in the Moneymaker picks as you continue to claw your way out of the hole that you dug yourself into.
Well, I'm going to start with Green Bay. I agree with you. I think that, Green Bay really gave one away last week, and maybe they were caught looking ahead to this game, but Matt LaFleur is the type of coach that I just don't think that this stuff is going to linger. I think they're going to come out. Dallas is terrible on defense. And so I like Green Bay minus the 6.5 on the road. I know that's a big road number to give up, but I'm going to take Green Bay minus the 6.5. I got Detroit minus 9.5, 10, whatever you want to do. But home against Cleveland, I think Detroit's got this feeling of, okay, we're good. Ben Johnson's left. We're still a juggernaut on offense, and I think they're going to carry that momentum back at home. So I see them rolling over Cleveland. And then I'm going to take I think it's the Dublin game. It's Dublin, right? Minnesota over Pittsburgh by minus 2.5. I saw a lot of that Pittsburgh-New England game last week, and boy, Pittsburgh did not look good.
No.
And if not for New England just vomiting all over themselves, the Patriots probably win that game comfortably. So the Vikings they're legit on defense. I mean, that is a legit defensive team. So I'll gladly give up the 2.5 Minnesota over Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I've got New England this weekend. Looking forward to talking to Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Not.
Why?
Oh, he's salty.
Is he?
Mike is just salty. I think it's because every time I played against Mike when he was in the league and I was in the league, opened a can of whoop ass. And it started in Pittsburgh, AFC Championship game when we ran we went through them like shit through a goose. I think it was 24-21, but we ran the shit out of the ball. TD had 100 plus, 150 plus yards. Whoa.
Something you'll probably remind him of early in the production meeting?
No, because he's just going to come in there all he is kind of my Pete Carroll. I'm never sure how he's going to come in. Sometimes he comes in jovial. Most of the time, he's a cranky bitch.
Really?
So, yeah. Just like when he was a player. And listen, and that, nothing but respect.
Right.
Because that's who he was as a player, too. And I respect the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Because, he is, he's an intense dude, man. And it was the way he was when he was a player. It's the way he is as a coach. I think it's one of the reasons he's had so much success. He's not your typical, let me try to be Belichick. Right. He is going to be him. That's exactly who he is. So I have a ton of respect, even though I kind of poke the bear and poke fun. I have a ton of respect for him. So right. I like where you're coming from because they should have absolutely waxed the stadium with the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, I love your Detroit pick and I love your Green Bay pick. Those were on my list, before you, but you got to pick first, and we don't repeat unless we go head to head. So here's where I'm going: go big or go home, and it's a scale that it's a declining scale. So I start with the Buffalo Bills over whoever they're playing. What was it? The Saints.
Yeah.
Saints on the road, 15.5. Come on. They're going to beat them. They're going to beat them by 21. So
Yeah.
I'm taking the Bills, and I'm giving the 15.5. Then I'm going to the Chargers. The Chargers are playing as good a football as anybody in the National Football League right now. -6.5. I'm taking the Chargers. I'm giving the points. And then I'm going to the Rams. This is a tough matchup because Indianapolis is playing as good as anybody, but the Rams let one get away. I think they're going to be motivated at home over the Colts. I'm taking the Rams. I'm giving the 3.5.
All right. Sounds good. We'll have a great call in New England. Get yourself some chowder this weekend, and we'll talk about that on Monday. We'll have the leftovers, the specifics of that game. And what'd you call Vrabel again? What was he?
A salty bitch, I think is what I might have called him. No offense. I mean, that's
no
not
offense.
That's a term of endearment.
Endearment, right. With all due respect.
He'll probably have this clipped on his iPhone to show me.
Yeah.
Is what you think?
Yeah.
Well, kind of. It's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody involved, the Stinkin Truth podcast, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it with everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. Shoot me some questions. And Monday, I'll tell you exactly how my conversation with Vrabel went. If he was cranky, which I'm expecting, or if he was jovial. Who knows?
Yes.
We're going to find out on Friday, Mike. All right, buddy.
Salty bitch.
He could be a salty bitch. Don't tell him I said that. For everybody involved, man, we thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys later. Oh, we'll talk to you guys first of next week.